We are here with Ira Gitlin from, where do you live, around Baltimore area?
Washington area,
Washington?
Alexandria, Virginia.
Okay,
Yeah.
and well, we know each other for a while from different things, but let's talk about what you do here at Joe Val for beginners.
Well, this is actually my 15th year at Joe Val running the Kids Academy, which is the program for kids who are starting to get interested in playing bluegrass. And we accept any kid, up through high school age who's interested and has an instrument. They got to have their own instruments. We can't lend them out. But aside from that, we'll have kids who maybe just got their guitar or mandolin, a month ago. And I'll have some kids who've been playing for several years, especially always get a lot of fiddle players because there's kids who do Suzuki, school orchestras and that kind of thing. Decent numbers of guitars. There's usually at least one bass. Not a lot of banjo kids, but always some.
So. Are they signing up ahead of time? Like, do you know who's coming before you get here?
Yeah, so there is advanced sign-up. We sometimes will get walk-ins who just sign up right when they get to the festival, but mostly it's advanced sign-ups. There's there's a registration form on the Boston Bluegrass Union website. If you go there and go to the Joe Val Festival page, there's a link to tells about the Kids Academy, but also has a link to the sign up. So I come up here knowing roughly how many kids we have on different instruments and some idea of how many of them have what level of experience. The questionnaire asks for the kid's age, how long they've been playing the instrument, what kind of lessons they've had, if any, that kind of thing.
Well, we know you're a teacher extraordinaire in bluegrass music. How does the Children's Academy differ from some of your other teachings?
Well, it's a little different. I teach a lot of private lessons and mostly banjo, and that's mostly adults and a lot of adult beginners. Teaching kids is a whole different thing, and some people are especially good at it. I've gotten okay at it. I have a friend who's a fiddle teacher who's just wonderful with kids. And then I also teach. I teach a lot of Wernick method jam classes and camps, and every one of those things has something a little different. What I say about the Kids Academy is that kind of what we show them musically on their instruments is actually kind of secondary. We only have a couple of days with them, and they may not remember much of what we show them, but the goal is to make sure that they come away feeling that they had a fun time playing music with other kids. And if that's all they remember, we have done our job. And if they remember a technique or a chord or something that they didn't know before, that's icing on the cake, really.
Well, they are playing awesome, beautiful music. You do a presentation at the end, performance with the kids, and it's a tearjerker.
Aww.
Like you really bring them quite a distance from day one. Some of them hardly playing at all.
Yeah, it really varies from year to year how much the kids progress from Friday to Sunday. I mean, really, it's just it's like 2.5 days here at the festival. This year we had some kids come who really had they had some pretty good skills and understanding. The one banjo student that I had was this 10-year-old girl who's been playing for 2 years, and she's taking lessons, and her teacher showed her a bunch of great stuff. And I just showed her fixed one or two little things and showed her maybe here's something you can do when you're playing backup behind the fiddles. But she came in knowing a bunch of stuff. Some of our guitar kids, and a lot of these kids also will be going to other such programs at other festivals, like Gray Fox in New York State.
Which you're involved with.
Right.
I've seen you at numerous ones.
Yeah, I don't run the Gray Fox program. That's run by a musician from Buffalo named Mark Panfill. I teach banjo at it, though, and I do run the similar programs at the Gettysburg Bluegrass Festival in August and Delaware Valley Bluegrass Festival down in South New Jersey in Labor Day weekend.
Yes, I've seen you there. Well, you do a lot of other teaching. Tell us about some of the other teachings that you do.
Well, as I said, I teach a lot of private lessons during the week in the Washington, D.C. area, mostly banjo, a little bit of guitar. Every
How would someone find you?
Well, you could Google banjo lessons Washington, D.C., and I'll probably come up pretty close to the top of the list. But IraGitlin.com, IraGitlin.com. I've got a website,
Do you do internet teachings?
I've had a few lessons that I've done on Skype, and that's good for if somebody absolutely can't make it to an in-person lesson. There is a real problem with Skype, even with the best of computers. The teacher and the student can't play together because there's too much time delay in the signal.
Sure.
For that reason, I wouldn't want to. It's a little risky to try to do a lesson like that with a real beginner, because a lot of times beginners, you need to play along with the beginners to kind of pull them in to the rhythm. If it's a more of an intermediate student who already knows the basics, you can play something, watch them do it, critique them, and it might be less important to play together. But then when they get to the level of improvising, then you really do need to play together.
Right.
You've got to give them the chance to play things over and over and feel how to do it in real time. So, yeah, it's got its place, but it's not totally a substitute for the in-person interaction.
And let's talk about the good old Wernick method German classes.
The Wernick method. I don't know. Pete's actually he's over there. They're getting ready for their Sad Hot Rises playing here. I don't know if his ears are burning here, but for people who don't know about the Wernick method, starting about 20 years ago, Pete Wernick started trying to figure out how you could teach people how to jam, because a lot of times people will learn, some pretty complex stuff on their instruments. You throw them into a jam session, they have no idea what to do, because there's a lot of, it's like the difference between learning how to operate the controls of your car and then going and driving in traffic. You might know how to shift, where all the controls are, how to steer, but it's when and how to do that stuff in real time as the situation unfolds is a whole other thing. And Pete actually really ingeniously broke it down into the skills. What are the skills that you need to do to be able to jump into a jam session anywhere and play along with people that you've never played with before, and maybe you don't even speak the same language, but except for the musical language, of course. And he figured out how to teach those skills, broke it down into skills, how to teach them, and then he started recruiting teachers to teach using his method, and I'm one of them, and I know you are too. And there's a bunch of us all over the world, actually. I think they've had Wernick method classes in Europe and Australia.
Sure.
And you remember any in Japan?
Ireland.
I think France, Czech Republic.
France. There's someone in France regular. But tell us, tell us how it's going to benefit a closet picker.
Well, yeah, the closet picker, that's the person who's just, playing at home and not getting out and playing with other people. And, bluegrass is an ensemble form. All of the instrumental techniques evolved to be part of an ensemble. So that's really where it's at. And frankly, a lot of people, when they take up an instrument, what they have in the back of their mind is that they're going to have fun playing in a social setting with other people. And they get kind of disappointed if they don't figure out how to do it. But so, in fact, I've got a class that I'm doing that's coming up, starting in just a few weeks, and we start by showing people how to understand a chord progression and how to learn it by watching the guitar player. You start by watching the player. You do play the chords that the guitar player is doing. Even if you don't play guitar, you can learn to read, like I can't really see it. That's a C chord, and that's
Well, how do people find you? Let'spick.org.
Let'spick.org. That's the URL that Pete has gotten for his instructional stuff. You can also get to it through drbanjo.com, drbango.com. But then you have to there's so many resources on that site. you might be overwhelmed. And so letspick.org.
What
I guess.
about you playing bands? We see you on stage a lot.
Well, I play. The bands I play in are Washington D.C. area bands, and they're all part-time. And I'm in a bunch of them. Not all bluegrass either. I play in lead guitar in a honky-tonk country band. I play bass in a western swing band. I play bass in a bluegrass band with Randy Barrett and Dee Dee Weiland, two wonderful singers, and that's Big Howdy is the name of the band.
And Randy Barrett being the DC.
Right. Randy is the head and one of the founders of the DC Bluegrass Union, which is the Bluegrass Association in the Washington area, dcbu.org. And he's also a great songwriter. He's written some wonderful songs. So I get to play bass with them and sing the low harmony parts, which is a lot of fun.
All right, well, so it's iragitlin.com to find you, and teaching music is your thing.
Can I plug another thing I'm involved in?
Please.
I am one of the coordinators of Bluegrass Week at the Augusta Heritage Center down in Elkins, West Virginia. It's a year-round organization that does things to promote the traditional arts, but in the summer they have different theme weeks, and Bluegrass Week, which this year is in August, is a full week-long classes and jamming and concerts, and I just love it. It's beautiful.
Isn't there a place people stay there, right? There's like dorms or something?
Yeah, it's on the campus of Davis and Elkins College, and most people will stay in dorms on campus. And there's some motels in the area, because that whole area it's kind of a big area for outdoor stuff, hiking and rock climbing.
So what's the website people can find that?
That is AugustaHeritageCenter.org. It's kind of a mouthful. And then you can find the different weeks: Bluegrass Week, Old Time Week, Swing Week. They've got
probably
blues,
you have a link on your site to that as well.
I can't remember if I do or not. I think I need to put one up there.
Okay.
But that's really neat. We get some great teachers there. Some of them are kind of real big names in the bluegrass world. Others aren't, but deserve to be. Not just great players, but great teachers as well.
All right. Well, thank you again, and I guess everyone will be able to see you. You're everywhere, it seems.
Well, okay.
Traveling.
I'm glad I created that impression. Thanks a lot, Scott.
Okay. Thank you.